taxes, keeping my books straight, running a profit and loss statement, it all gets so confusing. I used to spend more time trying to worry about my taxes and if I'm doing them right than I actually did working on my business. I needed a solution. That is when I found Core Financial. Core is a team of tax professionals that actually care about real relationships with their clients. From the moment I hired Core, I was able to trust that I would be fully taken care of. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all the tax breaks I qualify for. Are you struggling to understand your finances? Do you need help making sure you don't make any mistakes? Look no further. Core Financial. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core Financial, and we know you will be too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to see what they can do for you. Core Financial. Real relationships. No surprises. 100 episodes. Nick, we're in triple digits.
Triple digits.
Happen?
Congratulations on your 100th episode of How to Film Weddings.
Congratulations, John and Nick.
Yay!
On 100 Podcast.
Congrats on your 100th episode.
Happy 100th episode. All right, first of all, John and Nick, congratulations on episode 100.
Man, holy cow, 100 episodes of How to Film Weddings.
100.
Happy 100
So
episodes. Like and subscribe.
So impressive.
Hello and welcome to the How to Film Weddings podcast, episode 100.
100. 100.
My name is John Bunn. I am joined by my best good buddy, Nick Miller, who has been here with me. I've been with him, co-hosting the How to Film Weddings podcast for 100 episodes. Nick, we're in triple digits.
Triple digits.
How are you doing?
I am doing so good. As you can see, if you are watching this on YouTube or Facebook, my room has gotten a little bit of a facelift. John has kind of done a little bit of facelift in his. You know, we were really ready for 100 and we wanted to do something special. I'm so excited that we've been able to, do this for the last, year and a half? We've had this podcast, a while.
Yeah, it's 18 months.
Yeah, it's just so exciting, and I'm doing so good. I'm really looking forward to this is definitely a big milestone, but it's not the end. We're gonna continue to go forward and all that, but I'm just excited. It
seems like we just did episode 50. That feels very recently, and I know that we've been doing more than one episode a week some weeks, but it's crazy to me how much both of us have changed and grown in our work, since the first episode in this hosting of podcasts. Obviously, we don't know how to do it all, but our first episode, it obviously, when you get to 100, it makes you think about the first 100 that got you here, and it's first of all, we wouldn't be here at all without you, the listener, the people tuning in that care about what we have to say. So to start with, we just have to both say thank you, because this is why we do it. It's for you. If you didn't care what we were saying, we wouldn't have any reason to be doing this. And so, we started this because we really wanted to do it, and we don't need to do this, but we love doing this. And so I think that's what's been so fresh and refreshing about what we're doing is that we don't need to be hosting this podcast. We feel like we're supposed to be doing this podcast. And so you think back to, episode 1, Nick, I mean, the first episode, I know we've talked about this a little on the podcast before, but the first episode, this time 2 years ago, we started our How to Film Weddings YouTube channel, and we were just like, we should do some education. We should do some YouTube videos. And I mean, I remember meeting and talking with you about like, hey, I'm going to be doing some education stuff. Do you want to join along? And having you come shoot a wedding with me and all these different things. And just, what was your I guess the question I was going to ask you is like, what's your recollection of how it all got going? When did you kind of think, oh, this could be a deal? What was your, like, did you have any hesitations about who's this John Bunn guy? Because we kind of met, online. So what was your story of how you remember it getting going?
Yeah, so whenever John reached out to me, to shoot a wedding with him, I thought it was, I don't know, like it was a guy needed a second shooter. Like I didn't think it was weird or odd or whatever. He's really good at just communicating and talking and making the people feel good about themselves. That's something. If you're listening to this, and one little nugget that I'll drop right here is if you need somebody, or you want to help out, or you want to offer advice or something, don't just start the conversation with, "Hey man, can I have this? Hey man, can I do this?" Okay. So one of the things that John actually did to me was I released this video on my YouTube channel about how to remove the warp stabilizer wobble, thing. And John really liked it. He liked the look of it. And he had wanted to get into education on YouTube. And he was like, man, there's just something missing with what I'm doing. And the video that I made definitely had the look and feel that he was going for. So he needed a second shooter. And I think it was just, him saying, let me get to know this guy a little bit to see, what we can do together. And it just kind of started from there. And I remember on that first wedding, and I know we've shared this story several times, John was like, oh yeah, this wedding, it was like an $8,000 booking or something like that. And this was in 2000, beginning of 18. Is that what it was? Yeah, it was like December 17, January 18, somewhere in there. And he said, yeah, I got it was like 8,000 for this booking. And I was like, what? 8? Really? And he was like, what are you at? And I was around 3,000 or so. And he looked at me dead in the face and he said, Nick, your work is incredible. If I was as talented as you and could film like you do and edit like you do, I would be charging $10,000, $11,000, $12,000 easy. And I remember just thinking like, wait, what? Like what? And so afterwards, we kept talking, and then I was like, hey man, how do I charge more? Like, how do I market more? Like, how do I do this kind of stuff? And I talked to him about maybe doing a mentor session or something, and he was like, well, how do I edit like that? How do I light stuff like how do, because definitely, John has his strengths and I have my strengths. And thankfully the strengths that John had is kind of where I was weak. And the strengths that I have is where he was weak. So, there wasn't a lot of overlap in some of that stuff. So we just kind of started this together. And remember, there were lots of conversations about wanting to get into education and how that would look and what we would do and our vision for it and all of that. And we were like, hey, maybe we should just, start a YouTube channel. So we decided to make this YouTube channel. Craig Adams for Wedding Film School had stopped creating content. There was some other stuff in there, but there was definitely a hole that we wanted to fill. So we started the How to Film Weddings YouTube channel, and stuff just didn't, take off. Like it didn't work how we wanted it to, probably because people like, who are these guys? And why are they spamming Wedding Videographers Facebook group with their videos that are, whatever. And then we started talking more, and we recorded a conversation kind of like this that we were having one day. And we're like, hey, did we just start a podcast? And we did, like 6 months after starting our YouTube channel. And then that's when stuff really took off.
Yeah. And
did I answer your question?
Yeah,
I feel like,
okay. I was just wanting to kind of get your input on the beginning, because like for me, I had recorded some content maybe 6 years ago about filming weddings. This was before, the wedding film school stuff got going, and I just felt like I needed to wait. I felt like it didn't look good. The content was good, but I just needed more time to like build my brand as a videographer and stuff. And so I saw your video, and you've learned this about me. I mean, I'm not like thinking 10 steps ahead. I saw your video and I was like, I'm going to reach out to this guy and just tell him this was awesome and see if he would ever be interested in working or doing it. It wasn't like, hey, I'm going to schmooze Nick and get him to like, I didn't know if Nick was a cool guy. So like it was, oh, he can second shoot for me in Oklahoma City. I like his work. And that would be great. Like we'll get to know each other. And so I remember, meeting at a Firehouse Subs and grabbing lunch and being like, hey, I'm John, and hey, I'm Nick, and like just shooting a wedding. And by the end of that day, it was like, oh, that guy's pretty cool. And then the conversation got going. And then, you fast forward 3-4 months later, after texting back and forth a lot, I was looking at doing education, started asking him. And I was very protective and wanted to do something on my own. And he would love to jump in and tell you this.
John's idea of it was basically, okay, I'm gonna own everything, and if we make money, I'm gonna like make all the money, and then I'll give you some. Okay,
that's basically
what it was.
I was very concerned that I would do a lot of work. Yes. And didn't know Nick enough yet, so I was covering my bases. And then as I got to know Nick and realized how similar he was, same, faith, same family size, same all the things, it was like, okay, this guy is very, very similar to me and my beliefs, and I could go into, business with this guy. I could attach my, trailer to his wagon, or so to speak. So, yeah, I mean, it was like a lot of conversations back and forth of like, well, there's these kinds of things that I've been wanting to do that I've been fleshing out for years. If we do these things, and just kind of working back and forth. But when it came down to it, it was like, I realized that like, I couldn't do it without Nick. And Nick was like, I couldn't do this without John. And it was like, this is a good, thing if we're together and we're able to, and these were all happy, healthy conversations and a lot of fun for us, but it was like, and Nick, one day I remember getting, we were like, well, what would we call it? And we kept going back and forth with names. And, I was still on the fence about, just whether or not to do something with Nick or not, if the timing was right. And I remember Nick being like, I just got a text, I think so. He's like, what do you think about how to film weddings? And I was like, dang it, I'm definitely working with Nick. Like, I just remember thinking, like, that's it. That's exactly what it needs to be. That's exactly the SEO that we need. That is what we're doing. I've seen so many podcasts veer to different, directions and things, and I was like, I know I wanted our North Star to always be how to film weddings and, or like wedding related and the name How to Film Weddings. It's like, well, duh, that works. And so Nick is brilliant at branding and logo design and motion graphics. And, he sent me like 5 or 6 songs that he really thought worked well, including the theme song that we have now, a bunch of these motion graphics. And he just got going, and it was like, let's just record some stuff and see what happens. And we didn't have a plan all the way figured out. We were just like, we know we need to start moving this, and if not, we're never going to go anywhere.
Right. And I think whenever it came to the podcast, like John was totally comfortable with like, okay, let's do this for like 6 months, a year, and then maybe we figure out a name. Like then maybe we figure some stuff out. Like he was real like, let's just do it. Let's get on with it and then see what kind of happens. And so thankfully we did figure out a name, and it did work, and it did stick, and it has stuck.
And we were making these videos, and it was because of these videos that we were like, oh, we should record a conversation we have and just turn it into a video. And then it was like, well, is this a podcast? And really, honestly, I just remember putting that out there as a podcast, sharing it, asking a couple of people to be on, like, let's try this out for a little bit. I remember having the conversation with Nick saying, hey, it's going to be like 2 years of us doing this in my mind before anybody knows our name even. So are you willing to do that? Because I'm willing to do that. And, within 6 months, it was like we'd had some of the biggest names on, and boom, it really hit. And so fast forward 100 episodes later, here we are today, with our podcast. Obviously, our YouTube channel is growing like crazy. The way our sets look, just the way that we're shooting. I mean, the audio, the sound, I know a lot of you guys got upset about me thunking my hand on a desk with a microphone, or, my S's are a little bit too S-y, or like all these different things. Running a video podcast, people are like very critical. And so, we've constantly, if you look back to episode 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, just seeing what it looks like, what our branding looks like as opposed to today, we're on this journey and we're growing. And, it's like, it's fun to look back and say, oh, in May of last year, we had 800 Instagram followers, and now we have over 3,000, or, we were getting 2,000 or 3,000 podcast downloads a month, and now we're getting close to 20,000 a month, or, whatever that. And so like being able to look at all that and watch that, hopefully that's inspiring to you, that like you got to get going, you got to start, you got to start moving that, moving it forward, and then you can always course correct. And we're always fine tuning now. And so, looking back on 100 episodes, all of the guests, all the people that have given the time, all the work that we've put into it, launching our course, launching products, all these things, it's like never could have I imagined that like in a year we would be where we're at.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a wild ride. It's been a fun ride. It's been a stressful ride at time, because, whenever we started this, we were like, oh, this could be a cool thing. And maybe eventually, it could get into some income and, just a little, side money, that kind of stuff, and then helping people. But, this has turned into like, another full-time job, right? So we've had, our own wedding production company, and then we have our podcast, How to Film Weddings. And, it was like, well, we want to do this one thing, but How to Film Weddings, like we don't get any money from this like early on, but yet we need to spend all this time on it. But yet, oh, I have these wedding videos that I have this big backlog on that I need to edit, and I'm actually like getting money from them. So it was quite the balance, over the last, year and a half, just figuring it all out. And if you're sitting at home and you have a, wedding video as your, side hustle, and you have a full-time job, you feel that struggle as well, except you're hopefully getting paid for the wedding stuff that you're doing, but it's definitely been a learning curve, and it's definitely been something that we're very glad that we have done, and we're very proud of the product and the thing that we have created to share with people and help other filmmakers and stuff. We do get messages quite often like, we love your podcast, it's so inspiring, it has helped me in my business, I'm able to charge more because of the things that I have learned in your, or whatever. And so we're just so excited about that we've been able to do this for the last 100 episodes, and looking forward to the next 100.
And on my side of things too, I didn't realize, like one of the things I wanted to talk about is like what surprised us in the last 100 episodes. And to me, the community, for the most part, 99% of wedding videographers that we're in touch with are some of the coolest, most, genuine people that are all in this together. And that's what we wanted to create. And like, when you're thinking about like reaching out to some of these people that you're a big fan of, to have them on your podcast or whatever, you don't want to come across, that you're, a weird person, or, you just don't know what people are going to think. And especially before you have the credibility, it's like, hey, do you want to come on our podcast? And they're like, well, who are you? And, slowly taking small victories and getting people onto the podcast and showing people that, we are good at what we're talking about. We know what we're talking about, and building that credibility. For me, the most surprising thing for me is just how amazing the educational community is, like the people that educate, and how I get to call these people friends now and can text them or call them. And like, there's this, understanding that the people that are out there educating others are, doing this to actually help people. And like, the more that I get to know them, the more I'm like, wow, these people just have really good hearts. They're open books on what they're doing, and that's the kind of people, that we want to be for you with wedding video business. And we didn't know what to expect with other educators or bringing people on the podcast, but it's been so low maintenance, so much fun getting to know people. It's like we get a free hour mentor session with all these people every time that we have somebody on.
I know.
So that's been some of the most surprising stuff to me.
Yeah.
What about you?
I will definitely agree with that. I know, backtrack, my wife started photography in 2010, and I remember when she wanted to get going, she reached out to so many photo people in town, like, hey, can I work with you? Can I talk to you? You know, can you give me some advice? Can you help me? You know, like all those kind of questions. And so many people like either flat out said no or didn't return her calls or, you know, whatever. And as we've gotten kind of into this space, and we have been people that have been like, hey, we want to, share our secret. Truthfully, one of the episodes that was one of the hardest ones for me to record was really early on. I think it was episode 8 when I talked about why I do same day edits. And I just remember, and I got this information from Venture Workshop, you know, from White and Reverie. So it wasn't anything new or whatever, but I know even in episode 8, there were people in my town that were listening to this podcast. And so that was one when I really like peeled back and I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to share this information because I know it will be helpful. And if other people do this stuff, great. That would be incredible. And so I did that. And I remember that was a point for me where I was like, okay, I'm just letting it all out there and sharing quote unquote secrets that I have. And you're right, John, in talking with other people that are in the education space. They have been great. You know, they haven't been like hoarders of their information. You know, they want to share, they want to talk, they want to communicate. Because I think if you were to talk to all the people that are quote unquote educators in this field, everyone wants the industry to grow. Everyone wants the industry to get better. And the only way that we are going to be able to do that is if we communicate with each other and if we share the stuff that we have learned and we talk to each other. Some of that is going to be a free education, like our podcast. You know, some of that is stuff that you pay for, like, you know, the template stuff that we have in our shops, or, you know, even our course that we've launched and that kind of thing. But, people able to share their information so that the industry can grow is great. And a big surprise is how the wedding film community has really just accepted us even from the very beginning, as, you know, just two guys that had been doing it for a while, but, you know, didn't have any a quote unquote name in the industry. That was very, very encouraging to me. That was a good surprise. So
yeah. And, you know, for this episode, I think that my heart towards how to film weddings right now is just like this. I know that the world, you know, is in a different spot than we thought it would be even a month or two ago, with everything that's going on. But like, I'm just so in such a like a celebratory mindset. Like I think that we all should celebrate, you know, together 100 episodes. You know, this isn't just Nick and me barking at, you know, the listeners. This is a community with our Facebook group and with, you know, our Instagram. And like, we feel very connected to all of you. And so, you know, for us, we want to celebrate this. This is a milestone. We can look back down the mountain and see how far we've come. But 100 episodes to us is just the beginning. We're not going anywhere. We look forward to creating more and more content for you. We have such big plans. You know, we are just now to the point where we feel like we're really launching to be able to focus more attention into our YouTube, into our podcast, into our course, into our products, into investing into the community. Because like Nick said, like if everyone in the wedding video community gets better and the industry grows, that helps us to charge more.
Definitely.
If there's more people out there doing great work and legitimizing what we do, the entire industry grows, we all get better for it. So Nick, I'm in celebration mode. I don't know if you're in celebration mode, but I think we should celebrate.
Yes, we are going to celebrate. And today, if you're listening to this live, we wanted to do a 100 episode celebration and give back some to the community. And so right now, if you head over to our website and go to howtofilmweddings.com/100, okay, you go there, howtofilmweddings.com/100, you can fill out a little form and you can be entered in to win some special prizes that we are giving away as a celebration to 100. We are going to give away all of the digital things that we have in our shop. So that's our new posing course, our email templates, our budget sheet, our wedding day questionnaire, all of that stuff we are going to give away to someone. So that's first thing. Another thing, we are going to give away a mentor session, $350 value. We're going to give that away to someone. And then we have 3 gift cards that we're going to give away. We have a $100 Apple gift card. You're stuck at home. Hey, let's rent some movies. Let's watch some movies. We're going to give away a $100 Amazon gift card. We're also going to give away a $100 B&H gift card. So we're going to have some giveaways that we're going to do every single day this week in our Facebook group. So you want to head over to our Facebook group, facebook.howtofilmweddings.com, to check that out. And we'll let you know. We'll send you an email, a DM, a text, or whatever, whenever your name gets drawn.
Yeah, and so there's no purchase necessary, and it is howtofilmweddings.com/100.
Yep.
And there's a little spot for you to put your name, your email address, and we're going to randomly generate a winner every day of the week. So, we just want to give back, and we just want to bless you all with, some fun. We know we're stuck in our houses, and so we were thinking, what can we do to just celebrate? We'll be giving away those things and then announcing them in our Facebook group. Super pumped about those things. And I'm also super pumped about the rest of this podcast episode, Nick, because I know we've rambled for a little bit, but I have 2 things. One is I really think that, for us, I know that a lot of you feel like you're connected to us, but we want to do a better job of connecting to you. And so if you're watching on YouTube or if you're watching on Facebook or listening, we want you to comment just one thing that has stood out to you in the first 100 episodes. Like, just leave a comment. Help us by just saying who you are, where you're from, and leave a comment either on the video, on the YouTube video, whatever. Just one thing that stood out to you. That will, we want to hear from you. So that's the first thing. And then the other thing, Nick, we thought for the 100th episode celebration, it would be really hard to just have one guest on the show. Who do you have on for episode 100?
Exactly.
Peter McKinnon, we turned him down. We turned down Gary Vaynerchuk. But we thought what would be cool? Yeah. What would be cool to us is if we invited some of our previous guests, some of our favorite guests, back on the show to give you one piece of advice that they wish they would have known. And so the rest of the episode, we're going to be hearing from a ton of wedding filmmakers giving you one piece of advice they wish they would have known, one piece of advice they want the community to know. Nick, you should tell them who else is going to be on.
Okay, so we are super excited to have Charlie Hilbrant, David Reynosa of Forestry Films, Eric Floberg, Jake Weisler, Jay and Mack Films, Josh Helton of A Little Long Distance, Lindsay Conklin from Reve Films, McLean Carlson of Hello Tomorrow, the one and only Who is Matt Johnson, Matt Harris of Film Poets, White and Reverie, Kaylin and Christine Rome, Ray Roman, and Rob Adams. We thank you all for joining us on the podcast and just sharing 2 or 3 minutes of information of things that you wish that you would have known whenever you first got started.
Yeah, I mean, this list is mind-blowing. We reached out to so many people, and to have these guys back on to give some information, we thought this was the best gift that we could give, is just having some of these favorite people give this guidance to you. So, man, Nick, I'm super excited to jump into it, and I'm very, very excited to do the next 100 episodes.
Definitely. So you definitely want to turn up that volume so you can hear them. We are going to jump right into these little clips right after this break. So tell me, what CRM do you use? If you're not sure or you don't know what a CRM is, I'm about to save you a lot of time and therefore money. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. Basically, a CRM is an online service that helps you better serve your clients. HoneyBook is both mine and John's CRM of choice. We absolutely love it. HoneyBook allows us to do all of our correspondence, contracts, and payments all in one place. One of the features that I love is the automated workflow. We all have emails that we send out to all of our clients, right? At 6 months, 3 months, 1 month, the week of. All of us do it. Automated workflows make it so that those emails can go out automatically. Since I don't have to take time to, 1, remember to send them out, and 2, to write them, I save time and make more money by working more efficiently. Are you interested in saving time on the business side of things? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook for a free 1-week trial. Also, because the Honeybooks really like me and John, we can give you $200 off of your first year, and that also comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Go to howtofilmweddings.com/honeybook to start saving lots of time in your business. Oh yeah, legally I have to tell you that John and I are affiliates of Honeybook.
Best advice I was ever given was I was feeling down on myself. I was at this is like early days, like 2012. I was on the GH2, and it was like the GH2 was like brand new, you know. And I was at this banquet hall. I remember it like it was yesterday. I'm at this banquet hall, and our ceremony guests are filtering in, and the staff at the hall, they're like sweeping up the piñata dust from a birthday party earlier, and those guests from that birthday party are now like on the other side of the room, partitioned by like tissue paper basically, and she like hear those people, and then like the ceremony is starting for us, and the client didn't know me from anybody, nor should they have, right? It's like whatever, but it didn't feel good, and I was down, and I was down on myself about it. And what I was told at the time was, just don't forget that you're always auditioning for your next role. And that goes for everything that we do, whether it's online or in person, in messages that we give clients. Like there's always a way to improve. There's always a way to see the situation for the best parts of it. I started to realize that if I went up and I introduced myself to catering staff, or if I said hi to the DJ and I was just excited to be there with them, you know, just grateful for the opportunity. I think I had the disposition probably of like a rescue dog, because I had a prior career, and I was just glad to be making wedding films. So I think that energy is infectious. And conversely, the opposite would be too. So just remember, whenever you're communicating to people online, or you're putting out messages that are either bringing like your best version of yourself to you, or they're pushing it away. And I just love this community, and just know that the people who you're seeing in this video would love to help you thrive however we can, because we know what it's like to be looking for your way. So lots of love.
Hey guys, it's David over at Forestry, and one of the things that I heard from someone a few years back that's really changed my mindset is this person told me that your bank account is the direct reflection of how much value you've provided. So think about it. People don't really spend money on things that they don't get value back in return for. And so as a wedding filmmaker, we have to think about, how can we provide the most value for brides and grooms? So how does that work out practically? Well, we kind of have to be like doctors. You know how a doctor sits in a room with a patient and starts asking questions like, what are you struggling with? What are your pain points? We have to look at our market and look at our, the brides and grooms in our market and say, what do they really need? What solutions can I provide for them in the means of the films that I provide and the experience that I provide with those films that can actually solve a problem for them? And this was just a game changer for me when I heard that dollars follow value. And when you are able to actually solve problems, your business will be in good shape. So think about it. Say if you're in a small market, for example, and everyone in your market is doing very, very cinematic wedding films, almost overly so. They're very posed, they're very, blockbuster quality, and there's very few people doing more authentic films, more laid back films, more films that have more of a personality to them and that aren't as big of productions as some of the other people in your market are doing. And as you start talking to different brides and grooms, you realize, oh my gosh, there's a huge need. They actually don't want this big production that almost every company in my area is doing. They want something a little more simple, a little more minimalistic, a little more pared back. that is a problem. That is a screaming problem that you as a business owner can come in and start to craft a film and craft a product that solves that unique problem. And then what ends up happening is you provide immense value for people who have an immense problem, and then their dollars follow the value that you provide, and then your bank account is full. So remember, as a business owner, you will always be in business if you try to figure out what is the thing that's most valuable to the people that I'm serving, and how can I create a product and experience to meet that value. If you do that year after year after year, you will always have bookings coming, and then you'll always really be a stable business. And it's something that we have stuck to and has really changed the game for us. And I'd say I'd add one last thing. When you do figure out what your target market needs and how you can provide that value, do it with excellence. Everything that you do it with excellence. When you create a product, make it a quality product. Dollars also follow quality, which is just another way to add value, is to have immense quality. All right, guys. Well, that is my tip that I heard from someone that's really changed the game for us, and I know it will for you as well.
Hey everyone, my name is Eric Floberg. I'm a filmmaker, photographer based out of Chicago, and I could say a million things about what I've learned over the years, but I think I'll just keep it short and simple with two very poignant moments in my career. One was the first time I had ever gone to a meetup in Chicago with other photographers and filmmakers in the industry. And I met my friend Dan and was explaining to him how I did wedding filmmaking, how I thought it should go, how I ran my business. And for the first 3 years I was doing it, I was filming the entire day as everyone does, but delivering a doc edit of an hour, 30 minutes, and telling him how much I charged at that point, maybe $1,500, $1,800, something like that. And he looked at me, he goes, you don't have to edit that much if you don't want to. And I was like, what? He goes, people are really interested in doing, you doing a montage edit to music, adding audio. And I was like, yeah, but a doc edit too. And he's like, no, like they're fine with just having that montage. And it was so foreign to me. I was like, there's no way. Everybody wants the big long edit, because I just felt like there's this traditional crowd. There's always like everybody who thinks they need a wedding wedding filmmaker needs to have everything, needs to have all of it documented. And that's when I just radically transformed my business model into making 3 to 6 minute montage films, which really helped me start to develop my voice, using music creatively, using audio from the wedding day creatively to tell a story that was shareable. And then all of a sudden, everybody was marketing for me by sharing these short films online. And so I know a lot of people do that now, and a lot of people do it in addition to a documentary edit. And that might be one way where you make money online, but I'm at the point now where I'm making 4 to 6 minute montage edits for upwards of $8,000 to $10,000 with just that and the delivery of raw footage all compiled together. So it's really powerful what you can build just by being creative and stepping out into something that you're not used to, something that you think might not be successful, but through trial and error, through seeing other people do it, can be successful. The other moment where that was really obvious in my career was when I was shooting with my buddy Josh Helton of A Little Long Distance on Maui. It was in 2018, and he was filming everything handheld. He was like zipping around the ceremony during the processional. When the bride is walking down the aisle, he got like 6 different angles of that one moment. Just 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there, 5 seconds. And I was blown away by his ability to tell the story just from one person running around handheld like that. It made me realize that how much I cared about story more than perfect quality. And before I had thought that I needed to be on a stabilizer or a monopod or something that was going to make the footage look rock solid and smooth. But every time I watched one of Josh's films and I saw the shaky kind of documentary style footage paired with all the emotions and moments that he was able to capture because of his versatility of moving around and moving so quickly with just his camera in his hands made me realize that I wanted to start going for that handheld look, which has drastically changed the quality of my work, in my opinion. I know it's a stylistic choice, but really made me realize that I want to go after that real life, rough, raw, emotional look. And it's really changed my work for the better because I've just kind of leaned into that more and made it more of my creative voice. So those are two really important things that I have learned over the course of 9 years now, and I hope it's helpful to you. Cheers. Love this community. Thank you, John and Nick, for doing all this. Happy 100th episode.
Hi, I'm McLean.
I'm Erin.
We're Hello Tomorrow Wedding Films out of Vancouver, Canada. One piece of advice that's really stuck with us throughout the years is, it's going to sound cliche, but be yourself in areas of business, but also creatively. It's important to do what speaks to you and not necessarily worry about what others around you are doing.
And we've tried to do this from, well, not from the very start, but a couple of years in, we started really trying. And then we were finding that we were, gaining couples who enjoyed the way that we were, which is great. And then we got some advice from friends, which is very similar. They're photographer friends, actually, who said they really try to put, have your client experience match exactly who you are. So don't be super formal in emails if that's not the way that you are. Don't maybe dress up super fancy for client meetings if that's not really your vibe or style. And it will just really help you to connect you with the people who are really comfortable with the way that you are and create something.
Because there's no one out there that is as, there's no other yous out there. So being yourself is important in a very saturated industry. Whether your market is or isn't, it's important to set yourself apart. And the best way to do that is by being yourself. So lean into those things that you might feel are weird or different about yourself, or you might be embarrassed by.
And maybe don't jump on every trend. Trends are great, and for some people they really work well with their style. If it doesn't work for yours, don't push it. You don't have to do it just because it exists.
Totally. One thing my dad has always told me is fight your own fight. So don't necessarily be looking what other people are doing around you. In business especially, it's important to be like, okay, that's cool for that person, but it's not necessarily aligning with my goals at the moment. So I'm going to stay the course and do what I know is right for me. And that is really important to remember, because it's easy to get lost in, like Erin was saying, all the trends or what other people we admire are doing. And it's okay to be, influenced and encouraged by other filmmakers or other creatives or other business people. But it's important to remember, do what's right for you and to be yourself.
It's so much easier that way.
That's true. And more fun.
So much more fun.
And for someone viewing the person in question, it's way more interesting to see someone who's they're totally being themselves. They're being transparent.
And then there's more, I feel like, this is the wrong word, fluidity, consistency throughout your films. They all that's their style, instead of what is going on here.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Kind of a repertoire is this.
Yeah. Have your signature style, which is you, and own it.
Own it.
Hope this helps. Like and subscribe to How to Film Weddings.
100.
Happy 100 episodes. Like and subscribe.
So impressive. I'm going to go for a run after this, maybe.
You should.
Pull a John Bun.
Yeah.
Do it.
Get fit.
Do you remember that wedding from a month ago? Yeah, like that one that you needed to start editing yesterday? But you also need to prep today for your wedding tomorrow, and you're leaving for your first vacation in forever on Monday. So what do? It seems that the only creative part of your edits are the excuses you're going to have to give your clients. We have the solution, Wedditor. Wedditor is a team of top wedding editors, project managers, and account coordinators that help us wedding filmmakers edit. They match the right editors with your style so you can spend your time where it matters most, on your business. Nick and I both use Wedditor, and we don't know how we would run our companies without them. It takes a team to build an amazing business, and you shouldn't try to do it all on your own. Head over to howtofilmweddings.com/Wedditor to help you free up your time so that you can focus on growing your brand. Be sure to use promo code HTFW for $50 off your first project. Wedditor, more than freelance, more than outsourcing.
Hey guys, Jake Weisler here from Jake Weisler Films, and to commemorate How to Film Weddings podcast 100th episode, Nick and John asked me a question that they wanted me to answer to help you guys progress in your wedding careers. And that question was, what is one piece of advice I've been told, read about, or picked up from someone else that could help another wedding videographer like yourself? There are so many things that I've been told that have influenced my journey and influenced the way I shoot weddings and the way I handle my business and my brand. But without a doubt, one of the biggest pieces of advice that I've been told came from my mentor, Parker Walbeck, who said, if you want people to invest in you, you have to be willing to invest in yourself. In other words, I couldn't expect people to spend a dime on me if I wasn't willing to spend a dime on myself and my learning and my growth. That could refer to equipment, that could refer to education, whatever. But taking the time and the money and the resources it takes to invest in yourself to grow and get better is why people will end up hiring you over any other amateur videographer. When I first started out, I was shooting on a Canon T2i, and I wasn't really willing to invest in myself because my mindset was, I'm fine, I'm not really, taking this too seriously, it's just kind of a hobby. And because I had that mindset of it just being a hobby and not taking it very seriously, nobody else took me seriously because I couldn't take myself seriously. So when Parker told me that advice, I looked at my business and said, you know what, he's right. If I want to be taken as a serious competitor in this industry, I need to make some upgrades. So when I first started out, I bought a 5D Mark IV, a stabilizer, and one great lens and a microphone to shoot my weddings with. And right when I made that investment, the quality of my work improved, my business quality improved, and because of that, my clientele improved because people now saw that, okay, Jake is willing to invest in his business. He's willing to invest in himself. I want to invest in him because he clearly will invest in my wedding day. So to all of you who are just starting out, you don't have to have a ton of money to get started, but I recommend the money you do have to use it to invest, whether that's in education or better equipment. For me, investing in online courses and online mentorships that would help me grow and shorten my learning curve were some of the best investments I've ever made. Even more than maybe buying a great camera and lens was buying education that taught me how to use what I had and how to grow my business. There are so many online courses out there, and investing in those courses and those mentorships, learning from the people who've already made thousands of mistakes and so that you don't have to, is a great place to start growing. And if you can't invest money, invest time into practicing. Even just listening to the How to Film Weddings podcast, there's 100 episodes now, all filled and jam-packed with great value of how you can increase your skills and your business. So investing the time to sit down and learn from these guys, and even investing the time into just messing with your camera, learning all the settings, going out and practicing with your friends, anything you can do to get better is worth the investment of time because it pays off, and people will see that time you're putting into it and want to invest in you and pay you to create videos for them. And then you can have the money to invest in better gear. But if you're not willing to invest time and money and practice into this industry, you might as well give up, because without those three things, you'll never grow, you'll never progress, you'll be stuck without any skills while everyone around you is investing, growing, getting better, growing their businesses, and surpassing you in every way. So if you want to compete, and if you want to be a part of this industry, and if you want wedding clients to take you seriously, invest in yourself.
Hey guys, Jay and Mack here. We hope you guys and your families are staying safe during this pandemic. It's extremely important that we all continue practicing social distancing. I'm actually about to head into a shift at the hospital tonight, and I would hate to have one of you guys or your family members as one of my patients. So please, please, please continue practicing social distancing.
Wash your hands.
I know it sucks, but the more all of us continue practicing that, the sooner this will all be over. So moving forward, we'd like to share a piece of advice with you guys. So it's painfully obvious and simple, but it's to pay attention to your surroundings and don't get so caught up in directing moments. And while I'm a huge advocate for directing, don't get me wrong, I love directing beautiful shots. It's really important to pay attention to what's actually happening and have those candid moments. Because that's what's going to separate your couple's film from anybody else's film, is those moments that are genuine interactions between each other, their friends, and their families. So luckily, I have Mack here.
So even for getting ready, Jay will be directing the bride to do something, I don't know, with makeup or with her hands. And I see the door open to the room and I'm like, oh, that's grandma. So I keep my eyes on her. I see her come in and I start recording because I know a moment's gonna happen, whether it's in a minute or 2 minutes, and she's gonna have a moment with the bride, and I'll already be recording that. And Jay will get it too, maybe at the tail end of the moment, but I'll get the whole moment. So it's always a good idea to keep your eyes open, keep track of who's who.
Stuck to that screen.
Like he does.
And then another example is during portraits. I might direct a couple to do something, and as I'm finishing up, I'm like, great job, guys, and then I stop recording, and I kind of walk away. Mack's still recording, and they know that I stopped recording, so they kind of let their guard down, and they might give each other a high five, give each other a hug, kiss, fist bump, something, whatever makes them them. And she's still rolling, so she captures that, and I might get the tail end of that. So that's like a really cool way to get the couple just being themselves. And another tip regarding the moments is that if your exposure is a little bit off, or you don't like your composition or focal length, just keep it, because you'll wish you had when you're in post and you see your exposure changing, or like you zoom or zoom out, zoom in or zoom out. You'll wish you had just kept it how it was, because it's so much easier to fix, if it's a little too dark, a little too bright, or if you need to crop in more. But you can't easily fix exposure changes or zooms mid shot. Those are our pieces of advice for you guys. In closing, continue washing your hands, you guys. Congratulations, John and Nick.
Yay.
On 100 Podcast.
Hey guys, I'm Jay. I'm a filmmaker based in Phoenix, and man, holy cow, 100 episodes of How to Film Weddings. That's just crazy. I remember when this came out, and it's such a cool thing to just have something out there that really just helps people, helps them grow, because that's only going to make the industry move forward. It's just helping everybody grow and learn from each other. And that kind of leads into a little bit of like some advice that was given to me that's been so impactful for me. And you've heard it before, but I'm going to say it again, is comparison. The quote, comparison is the thief of joy. Totally true. It sucks when you compare yourself. Like if I put my films next to Henry Martin's films, man, that's just, I'm gonna be sad, and I'm gonna be like, man, my films will never be like Henry Martin's, or Matt Johnson's, or Ray Roman's, or John Bunn's, or Nick Miller's, or I could just go down this list of people that I could compare myself to. But what does that do? That just brings me down. Another thing that comparison does is it makes you make decisions that really aren't true to you, because you start to think, if I want to be like that person, I gotta be like that person. If I want to book these destination wedding films or make these epic films, I gotta start just copying them. I gotta start doing exactly what they're doing. And then you start to be not so true to yourself. Finding inspiration is so awesome. Inspiration is good. I listen to music and it inspires me. I watch films and they inspire me. But then if I start copying films or comparing myself to these other filmmakers, it just makes me not who I am. And this bride that books you, they're not booking those people, they're booking you. They want to book you. And they want to book you because they like the way you shoot. They like the way you edit. They like the music that you choose. They like how you are in person, or however you talk to them when you first originally booked them. They want you, so be you. Don't be Matt Johnson. Don't be Henry Martin's. Don't be any of those people. Be you, and find inspiration in all those people, but don't copy them. Just be you, because there doesn't need to be another Matt Johnson in the world. There doesn't need to be another Ray Roman in the world. There only needs to be one of those people. There only needs to be one of you. And let people find inspiration in you too. So my piece of advice is so cheesy, but be you. Be the best version of you. Don't compare yourself to others. Don't copy other people. Learn, grow, continue to build who you are as a filmmaker, as a person, and just as somebody in this industry, because this industry is awesome, and I'm so lucky and thankful to be a part of it.
Actually, the first thing that came to my mind was something that we've heard from our couples throughout the years, and it's really stuck with me and probably been the single most formative thing toward our wedding video business. So during the editing process, you're putting all this heart and soul into, you want to create something for this couple that really blows them away. At least for me, I can kind of get caught up actually in blowing away other wedding video people or other people in the industry, some of the wrong motivations. And one thing that's really helped level that out and really change the whole perspective I have on wedding videos has been hearing the couples afterward when we deliver. And we've heard this from a few couples throughout the years where they mention there being one particular person that they're so grateful ended up in the wedding video. And it's somebody I'm usually not suspecting and usually on the wedding day not even aware of was an important person to them. It's pretty obvious who the parents are, who the siblings are and all that, but sometimes there's people that, during the ceremony it's often maybe they're 2-3 rows behind, but these people are all still super important to the couple as well. And hearing that they're just so grateful that they're in there for just 2 or 3 seconds, above, they're more impressed and happy about that than certain little flashy tricks I might have tried or something like that, or the beautiful composed shot that I was excited about. And that's sometimes some of their top feedback. So that has really stuck with me and shaped just how I view, and go into the wedding day itself. I'm trying to be aware of who are those people outside of just the immediate obvious ones. And I mean, obviously everyone they invite to their wedding is super important to them in some context. So I think I've taken a step back from maybe a couple years ago wanting to impress with my own personal skills just to try to impress people. And instead it's made me even more passionate about wanting to deliver something to couples that in 30 or 40 or 50 years they can look back on and they can remember that, these people that have been with them on their journey, especially including elderly folks in the wedding video, because 30, 40, 50 years from now they might be passed on and they're going to be so happy to be able to look back and see these people on their important day. And for me that's also been really eye-opening and encouraging because I myself am not super technical. I still have a lot to learn about videography. Truthfully this shot right now I'm just shooting by myself and I am crossing my fingers that it's in focus and white balance properly to some extent. But I think I probably would have changed jobs a while ago if I thought I had to be more proficient in videography itself. And obviously I'm still trying to fine tune and brush up on those skills and I have a lot to learn. But I think just hearing that couples, they really care a lot about just seeing the people that are at their wedding, and it's made me just so passionate about wanting to deliver something and be a part of something that important that they can have for the rest of their life. And that's probably been the most important thing that I would pass on to other wedding videographers.
Hey, John and Nick, congratulations on your 100th episode of How to Film Weddings. We're so stoked for you guys and all you guys are doing for the community. And we're so stoked to be here.
Yeah, we are Caleb and Elaine from KEJ Productions, and we were asked I'm gonna let you go first. What was the best advice you think we were given as an early business, and even now?
I think the best advice early on was defining our own success for our business. And it was given to us early on, but I think we're just now starting to figure that out. So
I agree with that.
It's really hard, but I think defining your own success, and I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think when we first started, we did what everyone did, and we went online and it was like, okay, what is like the number one thing we should be doing as a wedding videographer, and we chased that. And I think even now there are some preconceived notions as to like what success looks like, whether that's, you're only filming 6 or 7 figure weddings, or, you land a celebrity wedding, or destination work. That's a big one. Like you're traveling to all these exotic places and that's all you do. And while I think those things are really awesome, and we've even accomplished some of those things, I can't say that that's been a defining thing for us or a driven thing for us. And ultimately, it's not necessarily where we got a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Fulfillment out of. So what are the things that you think we define as successful?
Time off.
Yeah.
Like being able to set up a business or working enough and having enough finances and everything that's sustainable for a healthy lifestyle and a mental health style that doesn't completely wreck us. I think that is a huge part for me, just because I love having weekends off. So if we can set up our business in that way that I actually get 2 weekends off a month, that is huge for me.
I feel like just within the last year is when we've finally not just grab hold of that, but have been able to implement a lot of that. And it's just amazing how much freedom we've seen in our personal lives and also in our business when we really started to hone in on what success is for us. And for us, it's a business that works for us, not us working for KEJ, which I think for our first 2 or 3 years, it really definitely felt like that. So we hope that's helpful for you guys. We love this community. Definitely connect with us. John and Nick, again, congratulations.
See you guys.
Bye.
Hey, John. Hey, Nick. Lindsay and Cherish here, Reve Films. We just want to start off by saying congrats on your 100th episode. That's a huge accomplishment. You guys are awesome. I know how hard you guys have worked to make How to Film Weddings a success, and you guys deserve all the success in the world. So thanks again for having us be a part of the podcast and be on. We really appreciate it. So as far as advice, I think the biggest thing that changed our career in this industry was when somebody told us, or when we realized that people want to do business with the people they like. They want to do business with their friends. And once we kind of learned that and we're told that, our business completely changed.
Yeah, once we really started to focus on creating genuine relationships with everyone in the industry, because this is a very social industry. And like you said, people want to be friends with the people they work with. And so once we learned that, we saw a huge shift in our business, and not only our business, but ourselves as people. We learned a lot too in so many different aspects of our life. So it's been all good things.
So that's it. That's our one takeaway. So get out there, make authentic relationships, and hopefully you'll see that same benefit as well as we did. So thanks again for having us. We love you guys. Congrats.
We know the time suck that is searching for the perfect song for your wedding film. MusicBed has spent years collaborating with artists, bands, and composers to make it easier than ever for anyone to find the right song for their video.
With amazing artists like Chapters, Tony Anderson, and The Light, The Heat, MusicBed is the best place for wedding videographers to get licensed music.
Their subscription service was a life changer for me, especially since all of their subscription music is pre-cleared for every social media platform: Facebook, Instagram, Love Stories TV, and my personal favorite, YouTube, all pre-cleared.
And if you are interested in a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription, head over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed. When you sign up, use the promo code HTFW and you will get your first month for free.
Hey guys, it's Matt with the Film Poets. So John asked, what's something that I picked up along the way that can help another wedding videographer? I'm reminded of a time when we first started, and just like everyone else who gets into this, I had some self-doubt. I had a lot of self-doubt. I was timid and unsure if I should even be doing this. I remember a day when we released our first film, and it didn't really matter that the couple liked it. I still felt unsure. I didn't feel like that was a part of this tribe yet. I finally worked up the courage to ask for feedback in a group, and I remember someone pulled me to the side just by sending me a direct message, and they said, hey, you've got a lot of potential. Keep at it. Don't stop this. Keep working. And I remember that really stuck with me, and it really inspired me to keep going and to not quit when I otherwise may have stopped. Now, you have the ability to do that for others. You have this special power in this industry to change someone's life because you're able to fully appreciate the care that they're putting into their craft like no one else can. So use that to encourage someone who's new or to build up someone that you admire. It may give them exactly what they need to get through during this tough time. And it also keeps your heart and mind focused on helping others. So my advice after 8 years of doing this is to hop online every once in a while with a specific purpose of building another person up. Find someone whose work you truly appreciate and send them an encouraging direct message. It just might be what the both of you need.
Hey, Nick and John, Ray Roman here down in quarantine. Congratulations on your 100th episode of How to Film Weddings. Thank you so much for everything you do for the wedding filmmaking community and for all your hard work in pushing the industry to a higher place. I look forward to seeing your cute faces in another 100 episodes. All the best.
All right, first of all, John and Nick, congratulations on episode 100. That's a pretty major achievement. You guys have been at it for 100 episodes straight, providing great content to your listeners, and congratulations. I think you guys are doing a great thing. What's the one thing that I have picked up in my career that I would say is the best piece of advice? There's actually two things. The first is something I heard a long time ago, and I've applied it ever since, and I'm talking decades ago. Somebody told me you have to get the shots you need before you get the shots you want. And I think so many wedding videographers go out there today with a creative mindset to the point where they're not thinking about what the client might say after they see the film and meet those expectations. So it's important to know what the client is expecting and capture the things that are important to them, not that are just only important to your creative vision. Even if the client says they trust your creative vision, they love your work, they love what you do, that might be true to a point, but I've run into scenarios in the past where I've dealt with clients who maybe it's not the bride, but the mom had certain expectations, and it's important in my market to meet those expectations. So maybe the bride loved the creativeness of the film, but the mom went, hey, where's shots of grandma? So make sure you get all the shots you need to satisfy your client, and then anything you do on top of that that's creative and beautiful is just going to be icing on the cake. The second piece of advice that I got, not so early on, and it came later in my career, was to treat your business like a business first, and then your art comes second. And I know this goes contrary to what a lot of us want to believe about our businesses and what we do as creative filmmakers, but the truth of the matter is you're a business person first. And once you start treating your business like a business and looking at the bottom line and expenses and calculating what your hourly wage really is when you factor in all of the work and all of the expenses that are required to run your business, that's when you will start to really see success and forward movement. So never neglect the fact that you are actually running a business no different than a pizzeria, no different than a window washing service, no different than a construction business. You have to treat it like an entity that has expenses and accounting that needs to be done correctly, and you have to do tax planning, and you have to be smart in the business purchases that you make. You can't just go out and buy the latest and greatest gear because you've got the money sitting in your account. There's more that goes into being a wedding videographer than just filming weddings. So those are my two big things that I apply every day in my business. Every day I get up out of bed and I apply those two things because I really need to make sure that I'm covering the bases of my client expectations and that I'm running my business so that my business will be around in the next 10 years. Once again, thanks a lot, and congratulations, John and Nick. Hope it's a great episode. Thanks so much.
What's up, guys? I'm Catherine Meich with Blink Films from episode 56, where we chat all about finding your passion through adversity. First off, I really want to congratulate John and Nick on this major milestone for the How to Film Weddings podcast. 100 episodes is a big deal, and I really want to thank you guys for this incredible community that you've built for us wedding filmmakers out there. So, one piece of advice that I picked up on recently was actually through a conversation with my mom that we just had, where we were talking about our creative process. She's a painter, has been since I was little, so talking about her fine art medium and my approach to filmmaking was actually really interesting. So for those of you who are familiar with my work, you may pick up on the idea that I approach my films from an art standpoint as opposed to a technical process. And when I really dive into the editing, more than anything, I channel the emotion and dive deep into that to really build the story of my film from there. So for example, if I've culled my film and there's a piece of footage that just stops me in my tracks, or if I'm going through the audio and there's a soundbite from a family member giving a speech, or something from the vows that just is incredibly moving, or another example is finding music and I'm just like, yep, this dials in the couple and their personality of the day. I take that emotion that I'm feeling and begin crafting and telling that story from there to really bring their film to life, to really have it represent them and their story. So my mom and I got to talking about this, and how we both approach our work from a place of feeling as opposed to kind of rule following or the right way to do things. And she said something in such a beautiful, profound way that really hit the nail on the head for my, like, the root of my why and what Blink Films is all about. And I want to share that with you all. So in an effort to not completely butcher what she said, I'm going to read it word for word. And she said that when it comes to art, teaching the technical process seems like an injustice because that can stifle your creativity. And man, that just like, that resonated with my soul, because although it's like incredibly important to evolve our skill set, invest in our education to become a quote unquote successful business owner, which is fantastic, I think that it's incredibly important to leave space in our brain to want to create, to literally do the thing that we started our business for in the first place. And I really think that there is no right way to be a wedding filmmaker, and that's what's so cool about it. But when you think about it, and I think about my process just from where I've started to here I am a couple years later, I really took the time to get to know myself and channel that into the personality of my brand, of my art, and continue to create films that inspire me, that are enhancing these couples' stories and what they're all about. So that's what I encourage you to do, is really like feed that purpose and personality into your brand and into your art. I think that it's so hard to like channel down one piece of advice, because there's been a million and one that have helped me pave my path. But that conversation with my mom really took me back to the place of where it all started. And for me, it's all about ditching the blueprint, chasing the feeling, because at the end of the day, my why is based on passion and creativity, and I love the art of filmmaking, and I always need to light that fire to find myself to get back to that place. So for all of you people out there, filmmakers who are super passionate about what you do, keep feeding that. Don't be afraid to be different. Try something new. And I really just want to end this conversation on this thought, because it can be so overwhelming with all of these resources out there. You can get stuck in some sort of like comparison pool, or looking at someone else's process and being like, man, is there something with mine that I'm doing wrong? But I think it's cool to constantly challenge yourself and think about this. Like, what if the technically wrong way to do something is actually the most brilliant? I don't know, guys, think about it, but I've been using that as kind of my inspiration, my fire lately, and channeling things that I've learned from fine art and my true love to just create, to continue to spark the growth in my business. So hope that resonates with you guys. Here is to the 100th episode, How to Film Weddings. You guys are awesome. Here's to many more. Cheers to you guys, and thank you so much for having me on.
Hey guys, my name is Matt Johnson, and if I had to share one piece of advice that I think would help every single wedding videographer out there, something that took me far too long to learn, is communicate with everybody. Proper communication is key. And I don't mean just with your couples. Yes, you should have good communication with your couples, but you need to have good communication with everybody on a wedding day. Communicate with the photographer, reach out to them ahead of time, build a relationship with them, communicate with the planner. All of this is going to require a lot of emails on your part. It's going to require phone calls. It's going to require you to take the time to build relationships with people. But the benefits are that there are going to be less miscommunications. You're going to be more focused on the wedding day. You're going to know exactly what's happening on the wedding day, and you're going to be able to create a better film because of that. So I get that this is a basic concept, but remember, a wedding at its core is a relationship between two people. And then they're having a day that is being facilitated by hundreds of other people, either guests or vendors. And so if you communicate, if you have built a relationship with all these other vendors, and you're all working toward the same goal, the day is going to be so much easier. There's going to be far less conflict, and your wedding films are going to be better because of it.
Hey, we are Kaylin and Christine from White and Reverie, and we just wanted to share some information with other wedding videographers out there.
Some advice that we have for anyone who's has a new company and they're starting their business is to always establish a why. Why are you doing this? That could be anything from I just want to travel more, I just want to film people and moments and genuine things like heirloom moments for people. Or maybe it's because you want to become a really successful business person and you want to build out a business, have employees, or maybe it's just strictly profitability. You just want to create more profit flow for your family. Establish that why and hold true to that throughout your company as you shift and grow and learn, and always be open to that why shifting as your life changes. With having maybe you have children or maybe you move to a different state. Just be open to that changing.
Well, thank you all so much for joining us on the podcast today. We really appreciate all of you taking time to just share a few minutes, a few nuggets of things that you wish you would have known whenever you started, creating wedding films, whatever that was for you. If you're listening to this, we want you to head over to howtofilmweddings.com/100. Remember, we're doing some crazy, awesome giveaways to give back to our community this week as this episode goes live. So head over to howtofilmweddings.com/100 to enter there. Good luck. We want to thank you all so much for listening to us for these first 100 episodes of the podcast. We're looking forward to the next 100. And until next time, we will see you.
We'll see you.